Welcome to the Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged podcast. I'm Joanne Pearce, a female entrepreneur, small business coach, and a creative business owner on a mission to help and inspire other women out there who want to make a decent living doing something they love. If you have your own small business, or maybe you've been thinking about starting one but not sure where to start, then this podcast is for you. I share everything I know about starting a creative business from my own experience of running my handmade stationery company, Vintage Twee. It's as honest and as down to earth as me, and it's an eclectic mix of sound business advice, northern humour, and real life, because it's not easy, is it? This podcast celebrates the selflessness, the strength and resilience of women, because we possess a superpower so great that we can handle whatever life throws at us and come out the other side. We are survivors, we are warriors, and we are as determined as hell to succeed. Hi, Jo.
Hi.
Hello, thanks so much for joining me today on the podcast. It's amazing to have you. I've been looking forward to this. And it's so nice to see you. And I have wonderful hair today, which is looking good because you are my hairdresser. Thank you very much for that.
I loved it. I loved cutting your hair. We had such a good time though, didn't we?
We did. And I was going to say to everyone listening that I knew we were going to get on because when I came to see you, I came with my husband and my little girl, and he was taking us to the park. And then Eden was having a meltdown in the street because she didn't want to leave me.
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to love you because I couldn't watch because I was too traumatized. So I came into the salon and you were like spying on them, weren't you, from the salon, seeing how they're getting on. Just like willing my husband to take us to the park so when we could get our hair cut because I've been waiting.
Like, just go. Take her. Go. She's fine.
She's fine. Just run. She went, and once she'd gone, we like flopped down in those chairs and just had a right good moan, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We did. Because we know what it's like. We know what it's like.
Exactly. And we're going to talk all about that today. We're going to talk about what it's like being self-employed as a working mum. But I thought a really good topic to talk about with you today would be personality and how, you bring personality to your business as a self-employed person because you rely on it, like, for your work. We all do to some degree, but for you particularly, you're face-to-face as a hairdresser, right?
Yeah, totally. Definitely agree. It's such a worry when it's just you. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's your skills, but it's also your face, who you are, what you represent, how you present yourself. And, there is an element of having to have some self-confidence there, which I have to say myself, sometimes it's really funny because I look like a very confident person, but I actually have a lot of self-doubt, and my self-esteem is not always amazing. But, I think you just almost have to put a bit of a face on, a bit of a mask sometimes, and bring it when you're doing hair and in the beauty industry, definitely.
Exactly. You've got to show up, looking your best. I mean, you always look so cool. This is what I want to say, right? So Jo has got the look, right? Really alternative. You've got the tattoos, you've got the cool hair, you've got the piercings. Like, I need to put my game, seriously.
Never wore that. I'm wearing rainbow dungarees today, so...
I mean, only you could pull them off. Do you know what I mean? I look like a kids' TV presenter when I wear dungarees. Well, not that I've ever worn them, but that's what I believe I would look like.
No, you would look awesome. You would look awesome. I want to see you in a pair of dungarees next time.
Next time I rock up to the salon, I'll have them on. Well, you look good. And I think people worry when they've got their own business about being themselves. And for me, I always say that I put like a lot of my success with my other business down to the fact that I've always just been me and I haven't tried to be anything else. And I think, yes, you can be offering a good product, a good service, you can be good at what you do, but people come for you and they come to see you. And that, I believe, is the key to success. And I think with your business, particularly being a hairdresser, like, I came to you and I'm coming back to you again because I thought you were fantastic as a person and as a hairdresser,
Oh, that's so nice.
I said, my friend booked in with you the next week as well. So it's all about
Word of mouth. Word of mouth's been great for me. I don't really advertise an awful lot. I only use kind of free advertising, so like, you know, FB and Instagram and stuff like that. Don't even use TikTok. Oh, I love a TikTok shop, but I don't. I'm terrible. Don't. I've always got a parcel coming from TikTok shop, and Richard's like, "You in that bloody TikTok shop?" But yeah, I don't even use TikTok, which I probably should, because I'm not actually great at like social media. I use it and I love it, but I'm terrible at kind of posting and things like that. So I don't post very regularly. I maybe post like once, twice a week if we're lucky.
And you've got loads of customers, you know what I mean? So
But I still have a lot of customers, and people message me obviously on there, but also a lot of it has been word of mouth for me. And I think it's because people say, "Oh my gosh, did you realize that there's a curly hairdresser?" Especially when they see someone else that's got curly hair. And lots of people come to me with the like discussions about they've been to the hairdressers, but they've never been happy with their cut, or like they've had like terrible haircuts because it's been cut like it's straight. Now I'm trained as a straight cut hairdresser, like standard hairdressing. I've done all that. Love it. And I do have some customers that have straight hair that just come to me just because I guess like you say, like they probably like me, which is nice.
Yeah.
There is so little in the world. And so few people that concentrate on just curly hair. I felt a bit like, this is my niche.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think that's really important to find your niche. And I was also really shocked about how little discussion about curls and waves and texture that there is when you train as a hairdresser as well.
We're so underrepresented.
I know. But you know what I love? I love that we're seeing more texture and curls, and we're seeing black hair, we're seeing mixed heritage hair, we're seeing European curls, we're seeing that in media now. So I feel like there is a bit more representation coming through.
And, you know, when I found you, because I went on Facebook because I was desperate for a hairdresser. I'd had one for a long time, but it just she was too far away from where I live now. And I was never 100% happy. So, so I went on Facebook like you do when you're asking for a plumber or a decorator or whatever, and you're like, does anybody know anyone that can cut curly hair? And most people, first of all, put, oh, sadly, there's no one in our vicinity that can do curly hair. We've tried, you know, we've been all over the place. Anyway, then this one lady who I'm going to love forever, like literally said, there's a new curly hairdresser in Chapel, which is like 20 minutes down the road from me. So I was on it. I was like Googling you, and I was like on it. And I messaged you and you booked me in, and it was brilliant. And I did. But it was your personality that it put me at ease instantly. And I think that's what people look for when they come to you as a business person as well. They want you to take their worries and you feel like you're going to solve their problem for them. And that's what I tell a lot of clients as well, that it's about solving a problem for your customers. I came to you saying I needed a good haircut, and you helped me. And I think that's what we need to be getting across to people, that it's okay to be yourself and put it all out there on the table. You were. I mean, I think, God, we talked about all kinds of stuff, didn't we?
Oh, I think we talked about everything, didn't we?
Yeah. I read somewhere that a person discloses more personal stuff to their hairdresser than they do to their partners.
It wouldn't surprise me. I think that I've always had an interest, right, in psychology and counseling, and I've always been someone that's been able to empathize really well. And I think that, you know, sometimes to my detriment, like I've got a face where people tell me stuff. Always had a face where people just literally, I'll be in the street and someone will start telling me their life story, and I'm like, okay. And that is amazing, but it can also be quite draining, you know. Over the years I've got better at being able to put a boundary there if I need to, if I'm a bit like, okay, we need to stop talking about this because it's taking its toll on me. But because I've always had this interest, I've always thought to myself that hairdressing is very much like being a counsellor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have people come to me and they cry in my chair.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, they come and talk to me, and I've had stories, all sorts, grieving people, people going through treatment of various kind, people that are just sometimes a bit sad, you know, because life's hard. Life is hard, and life is not straightforward. It isn't a straight line from A to B. And I think that having someone that can acknowledge it and say, it's okay to talk
Mm-hmm.
to me here, you know,
Yeah.
I think is really important. And actually, like, it is very much like being a counsellor or a therapist, you know. And
And
we
you
call them beauty therapists, and it's not a lie.
exactly, you should be paid more for what you do. I'm telling you.
Probably.
It's one of these because I saw something on Facebook just before we logged on to have this chat, and it was about
Yeah.
self-care for women, and it was really interesting. And it was this lady, and she said that when she buys a cup of coffee in the morning from wherever, like Starbucks, Costa, whatever, she says sometimes she feels judged because people are looking at her, wondering why she's spending £5 on a coffee. And she was like, well,
Right.
that's my thing I do every morning. She said, yes,
Yeah.
okay, I'm spending £25 a week on coffee, but she said, that's my level of self-care. That
Yeah.
reminds me that for someone to say to me, oh, hello, how are you today? What would you like to order? She said, that for me is probably the first time and the only time all day that someone will ask me how I am and what
How
I
you
want.
are and what you need. Yeah, yeah.
I think that's similar for you in the hairdressing role. Like when people sit down in your chair, and I know that I felt like this, when you say, right, how are you? Like the floodgates just open and you're like, oh God, actually, I'm not all right.
I'm losing my mind. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Someone has asked me how I am.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling great. And that connection that you form with people, it's genuine, it's authentic, and it's what we're craving, I think, now in a world where we're just online and we're
Yeah.
on the other end of the keyboard, emails, and I think with your business, it's great because you always have that human connection.
I
So
think it's the face-to-face thing, isn't it? Because, like, I'm going to give you an example. My granddad, okay? My granddad's still alive. He's 91. He's amazing. Like, he's
wow.
doing really, really well for himself. He's just been on a cruise, his first time ever. He's on his own. He's had a blast, But this guy, he is on his laptop, internet constantly. I mean, it's incredible, obviously, for his age, the fact that he's so tech savvy, which is brilliant. And it's meant that he has been able to keep connection with people.
Yeah.
But I also worry about him for the fact that there aren't many people around him, like physically in his presence.
Yeah.
It's all online. His friendships, a lot of them are online. And I know he's quite happy, but I also think to myself, there is nothing that is the same as having a one-to-one, face-to-face, where
Definitely.
you can touch the other person. I'm quite a touchy-feely person, and I quite often, if someone comes in and often one of the first questions is, "Tell me about your hair."
Yeah.
Tell me about your hair. What's it doing? What
Yeah.
do you want? What do you need with it? And I often get people who are like, I just don't know what to do, and I'm struggling with this and I'm struggling with that. And I have to put my hands on their shoulders and I'll say, we'll sort it out. Almost like to kind of ground them, to say, right, I'm here, let's do it together, And I think it's quite nice to have that one-to-one in a world where we're not spending time one-to-one. Like, this is okay. Like, me and you talking now is great.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as being in the room together, is it? You know what I mean?
Definitely not. Like, yeah, exactly. When I came to you for my haircut, we were there for 2 hours, weren't we? Just talking.
Yeah.
It's dark outside by the time I came out. It was brilliant. I was
I
like,
like to give plenty of time though as well. Like,
yeah.
I tend to give 2 hours to the appointment because we talk.
Yeah, we do. You feel like you've not got that pressure of someone watching the clock, and I appreciate, and people appreciate that. And I think most ladies can apply that to their business as well, like taking that extra bit of time with people just to make them feel special and make them feel heard and wanted. It doesn't matter what you do. I always think it doesn't matter if you make candles or you make, personalized clothes or whatever. You can always communicate with your customer via email or pick up the phone and ask them, did they like it?
Yeah, whatever way that is for
Yeah,
you. Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. Yeah.
And for you, like, I was going to ask you, so I was thinking about it the other day, about how difficult it can be when you work for yourself and you don't feel like showing up. You know, it's probably a bit easier for me and people who are online and have an online business because we can hide behind the computer, we can hide
Yeah.
behind the keyboard. Like
Yeah.
I was a bit wobbly this morning because Eden's struggling going into school, and I just thought, oh God, you know, it's going to be difficult today because my mind's going to be elsewhere. But for you, you have to show up physically in person, don't you?
Yeah.
So it is putting on a mask sometimes when you don't feel like it.
Yeah, it's like I always say, it's like putting a hat on sometimes. Like I have different hats for different situations. Like sometimes I'm mummy, you
Yeah,
know, mummy hat. Sometimes I'm just Joe, the like still about 13, wants to go and have a laugh with her mates. Do you know what I mean? And then I've got my partner hat, you know, when I'm with Richard, that's another thing.
yeah,
And I think it's another hat that I have to put on for work. You know, it's a more professional hat, but I also know it's a friendly hat.
yeah,
I have to kind of do a bit of self care as well. Like I have to think to myself, okay, I need to take 5 minutes to have a brew, you
yeah.
know, have my coffee in the morning and just work through what I need to do today. I also like to be quite quiet, which
Mm,
is mental because look at me. I talk like crazy, but I do actually like before and after work, I'm quite quiet, you know,
yeah,
I'm quite, I just take a bit of time,
yes.
be a bit more internal. Sometimes it's a matter of getting in the shower and just letting that wash over you to prepare yourself for it. I mean, recently, literally the past couple of weeks, I've been struggling a lot with anxiety. In fact, I've had a couple of panic attacks, which I hadn't had for probably about maybe 4 years, 5 years. It's been a while. It's
Yeah.
been a while since I've had one. And you know, and that really, really knocked my confidence recently with feeling like wanting to go in.
Yes.
Um, but there's an element also of the self-talk, you
Mm,
know, like talking to yourself that you can do it. Anxiety is one of those horrible things that says you can't.
it
You
does.
can't, you can't, can't. But if you have to find this strength sort of within that says, I can. And I'm not going to lie, I still got to work and was feeling, whew, you know, a bit. But once I kind of put my hat on
Yeah, yeah,
and started the talk, like with my customer, and spoke to them and found out what they needed, and I made us a brew. I like to
yeah.
keep it quite informal. I never want anyone to come to my salon and think, oh my God, I've not got enough makeup on.
I know, exactly. Yeah,
Oh my God, they're judging me.
yeah.
Oh my God, I'm wearing my like, scruffy clothes, or my hair looks a mess. You're going to the hairdressers.
That's it.
You're going to get it done.
Like, I never washed my hair before the hairdressers,
Oh my
but
God, I didn't go to the, like, look how bad my hair looks. And
yeah,
it's like, I don't want anyone to ever feel that they come into the space and feel like it's like not a relaxed thing, that,
yeah.
you know, that anyone's sort of making a judgment on them, that they can feel calm. I
Okay.
like to keep the space fairly quiet if I can as well.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a
and
very personal thing, isn't it? It is a personal thing, having your
Yeah.
hair.
Some people love the idea of going to a really super
Mhm.
sleek salon, you know, and that's lovely too. And if that's right for them, that's brilliant. But I know a lot of women who come to me, and I think it's maybe something to do with having curly hair, that we've always had this experience of it's frizzy, it's
Yeah.
crazy, it's not neat,
Mhm.
and therefore, you know, we're not sleek. And so when they get in that space, like they're a bit like, ah, I can be myself.
You can, exactly. And, you know, for me, like you, I describe you as very cool, right? You are very cool, as I said before. And I remember when I sat in your chair,
No, I don't feel like a cool person.
you really are, trust me. And when you did my hair, I remember you saying to me, oh, you look like, who was it now? You said someone, didn't you?
Oh, Alison Goldfrapp.
That's the one, Alison Goldfrapp. I didn't know who that was because, again, not cool. I'm in my pajamas at 8 o'clock drinking a Horlicks most nights, doing some bit of knitting, you know. When you said it, Googled, I thought, oh, she is quite cool. She does look good. So I always think of that now, if I'm feeling a little bit low, I think, no, Jo said you look cool. Your hair looks good.
Yeah.
And that gave me a bit of a boost of confidence as well.
Yeah, I had a lady the other day who came in and I was like, oh my God, you look like Stevie Nicks.
Really? She was like, yes.
Actually, in my head, that's the coolest thing ever, to be like Stevie Nicks. Like, I think she's amazing. And she said to me, do you know what? I've never really liked her. I mean, I thought I was giving her a really good compliment. Well,
As soon as she comes back. Before. It's so funny. But it's so important just to connect with your clients, isn't it? And that's what I wanted to tell people today, that speaking to you is just, for me, I don't know, it's opened my eyes a little bit to like how to make yourself a bit more personable and approachable in your business, because we're all so scared of being professional all the time. But that's
no. And I think I have had roles in the past. And also when I was training, as a hairdresser, that you're taught that you should almost not have personality. Like, yes, bring personality, but it's only a little bit,
exactly.
And you should dress in this way. Because I remember, say, for example, because I didn't train as a youngster, I trained when I was like 30.
Yeah.
So I've only been doing this like about 10 years, and I did have a big break in the middle when I had my youngest daughter as well. So I've kind of come and gone. And when I was at college, we all had these grey kind of tabard things that we wore, and it was expected that one of the things that they talked about was kind of professional salon kind of look policy, and obviously every salon has its own policies, but I think the fact that I work for myself, it's just me, it means I can make that choice of like, okay, I'm gonna wear, I try not to go too far out, but I also like, I'll wear like a 50s style dress or something like that, or some nice big earrings or whatever, and I try and feel relaxed but also professional to an extent. Like professional, but in colour is what I like to think.
Yes, professional in colour. Do you know, it's true. When I used to do wedding fairs, I used to dress up in 50s gear because my stationery business is all vintage themed. So I dressed
love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool. I wore these like Vivian Holloway dresses, if you know Vivian Holloway. Yeah. I can't fit in them these days, too fat.
No, I mean, I've got one or two that are all right, but
You're lucky. Can't get it. Anyway, so I used to wear them, and people would come over to my stall. It was like they were like a magnet, because they wanted to talk to me, because they liked the way I looked. They were interested. So showing up like that, I'm not saying I was in costume as such, but I was being a big part of me, saying this is what I like to wear if I'm going out or I'm going to a function or something. So I really dressed up, and I looked the part. So people would come over and they'd be like, wow, I love your outfit, and then they would look at what I was offering there on the table, and they'd go, oh, right, so these are your wedding favours. Oh, wow, they reflect the style of obviously who you are. And that's how I got clients and how I got customers, because they liked talking to me, finding out about me first, and then they would fall in love with what it was I was doing.
That's nice. Well, it's true, it's nice. Years ago, before I became a hairdresser, I used to wear a lot of 50s stuff because I worked as a jazz singer. Did I tell you this?
I was going to ask you this, right? I thought I imagined this.
No, maybe we did have a chat about it.
You used to be a jazz singer, so you did?
Yeah.
Yes, right.
So, I mean, I suppose I still am, but I just don't do it anymore. And I worked a lot with older people, and it was a music charity. They're brilliant. It's in West Yorkshire. It's before I moved to Derbyshire, and it's basically a mental health music charity.
Wow.
And it's they're based in Halifax, and it's run from one of the social clubs there. Now, as you probably know, in West Yorkshire, the social club scene's massive. It's still huge. Like, and the clubs are physically huge. So they have these massive stages, proper sound system, proper dance floors. They're really, really good. And basically, we set this up so that I was performing loads of just old stuff, 40s, 50s, 60s. I get all dressed up, I do the makeup, I do the hair, victory rolls, what have you. And I'd sing, wartime to sort of 60s. Mostly jazz, but other stuff as well, rock and roll and all sorts. And a lot of people who had dementia and Alzheimer's. And I loved it because there's something so powerful about music. So these are people that can't really speak anymore. Some of them, they didn't have, they lost all that. But you play them a song and they know every word. It's like, what? Like, that's so amazing. It gives you those kind of tingles. I miss that a lot because I did that every week, and I did that every week for several years, and I got to know those people so well, and like, again, it's your personality.
Yeah.
But it was also felt like we were basically putting on like club nights, but on a Monday afternoon. You know what I mean? We had, and the bar was open.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone was getting their sherries and their white wines, and it was cute. It was great.
That's Monday afternoon to me.
I know. I was like, I could. Do you know, if I was this age, I'd definitely join in with this.
Sign me up, I'm telling you. So why did you give that up then, the jazz singing? Was it
I think it was just like a combination of factors. So I met my partner, who Rick, and he was living in Poynton, working in Marple. We'd met online.
Did you?
Yeah, we met on an app. But we were each other's first ever online dates.
Wow. And
so I talked to a couple of other people, but I just thought, he seems like a really nice bloke.
Mm.
And I just felt like he was right from kind of day dot.
Oh.
We met, and literally that was it.
Brilliant.
We're kind of inseparable ever since, and it's been kind of 10 years now.
Wow.
And we've got Phil, got Sylvia.
Yeah.
So it wasn't going to be able to move his job over. So we decided to move in together, because at the time I was still traveling over, and I think it just got to a point where I was like, I can't keep doing this. I'm knackering myself out. And then I fell pregnant with Sylvia, and I was really poorly in pregnancy. So it was like, it kind of all put a stop to it. And then the reason why I got into hairdressing was because Rick had asked me to cut his hair.
Really?
Yeah. He was like, I'll just buy you some scissors and a comb. And I was like, are you sure you want me to cut your hair? Like, I'd never cut anyone's hair ever, ever, ever in my life. I was like, not sure this is a good idea. And then he was like, just follow one of those YouTube tutorials. He always had quite long hair. He was like, I want it shorter, but I don't want it short. He didn't want a man's hair. He wanted a men's haircut, but that wasn't like using clippers or whatever.
Yeah. So you get what you make, I'm afraid. I've never done this before.
Well, if it goes wrong, I'll just go to a salon. I was like, okay. So I cut it. It looked wicked, and I found it incredibly mindful when I was doing it. I found the fact that it was creative, but I was kind of following a process, and I just enjoyed it, and I actually did it well. Like, I naturally picked those scissors up and just did a good job. I was a bit like, look at that, I did it. And I know, it's hilarious. So I said to him, do you know what? I'm thinking of training as a hairdresser. And he said, that's a great idea. Do it. Why not? Kind of, and it's a bit weird going back to education as an older person. Because I was 29. No. I think I was 30, 31 maybe when I trained. And there was maybe a couple of others that were in their mid-20s. But I was definitely the oldest. I was definitely the mummy of the group.
Feel geriatric, don't you, when you're going back to school?
Or... I look after them all. I'm like, come, children, let me look after you.
I bring you all packed lunches and everything you need.
Yeah. And my tutor was like, why is it taking you this long to decide to do it? And I was like, I don't know, but you know, I'm really glad I am doing it now.
Yeah, and I think what you were saying about going back when you're a little bit older to train and to learn a new skill. I know a lot of the ladies that listen to this are older ladies that maybe their kids have left home
Yeah,
and they're now starting to realise that they want to do something for themselves and
absolutely.
their business now. Now is the time. They've got this
Yeah,
freedom. And it's getting that confidence in a world where everything's so fast paced, everything's
yeah.
all online, social media. It's hard. It is hard, even for younger
And like I said, I'm not great at social media. But if you can learn a bit,
people. Hmm.
that's definitely going to help you, isn't it? And it's finding your niche.
Hmm.
I think there's those sort of little things about if you're starting a business, finding your niche,
Yes.
using your personality, learning a bit about whether it's computers or social media or selling online or whatever it might be.
Yes,
Yeah.
you might be older than the person down the road who started a business, whatever, but it doesn't mean you can't do it.
A bit of experience is actually really good.
I think so too.
I think as you get older, you tend to give a bit less as
Yeah.
well.
Mm.
Like I know, like since I got over the age of kind of 35,
Yeah.
I'm caring less what people think about me. I do still care what people think about me. Of course I do. Everybody does.
Yeah.
But I'm not paranoid about it, you know. And I think if you can care less, then just use that confidence to build on it. You know what I mean?
And I just wanted to talk briefly about being a mum as well, obviously working.
Yeah.
So you've got Sylvia, haven't you? She's the same age as Eden, I think. Is she 5?
Yeah, well, she's a year
Yeah, oh,
above, so she's in year 1.
that's right.
Yeah.
Conception, yeah.
And then I've got Maria, who is 14 and a half.
Oh, God.
How
How?
am I the parent of a year 10? I
Oh,
remember being in year 10 and it was awful. You couldn't pay me to go back to being 40.
no way. I really sympathise with young people now. Oh, my God.
Oh,
Do you feel guilty for having children having to put them through school? Because I do. I think about it all the time. I think I'm so sorry that you have to do this.
I'm so sorry, children. I know. The thing that we have to battle with, which is hilarious because we need it
Yeah,
as business people
yeah.
and as women who are self-employed. Social media,
Hmm.
it can be a massive positive, but for kids
Yeah.
and for teenagers, it's a scary place.
Scary.
It's a scary world. Now, I'm quite lucky because my teenager, she either watches very feminist things, and it's hilarious. She's like, girls can do that.
Yeah.
She sends them to me on TikTok. It makes me laugh. Or she watches like videos basically of kittens. So so I'm not massively worried about what's influencing her. Like I'm like, those are quite good things.
So I don't know how you cope with it working for yourself, but I am knackered half the time because the
But,
energy that we put in.
and I think the thing is of having a children anyway,
Yeah.
having kids anyway is a full-time job.
It
I
is.
don't care what anyone says. It is a full-time job and you're not paid for it.
No.
So when I've been at work all day, I mean, I work part-time.
Mhm.
So but I work I work my 3 days normally is what I work, but I work them like I work a full day, and I work a full day and then I get home and it's like, oh my God, I'm at my second job now. Even though I hate the idea that it's like a job,
Yeah.
but it's not a job, is it? It's your life. But
No.
it's very hard work. And I am always tired. I have never had enough sleep
No.
because Sylvia is on the pathway
Yeah.
for an autism diagnosis, but she doesn't sleep. She hasn't slept through the night. She's nearly 6. Obviously, my kids are quite differing in age.
Yeah.
I'm a bit scared about Sil because like she is hard work, mate. She is hard work. Like she's just like she flips out, and even just like this morning, she was trying to kick me because she didn't want to put her trousers on.
Yeah.
I was like, just get your trousers on.
Yeah. Oh my God, you have to stay so calm, don't you?
You can do that, right? I'm counting to 3. 3.
Scary eyes. That's what I do. Scary eyes.
Scary.
Oh God, she's
Yeah.
serious. I better get dressed. But well, as working mums, as a lot of women out there are in the same boat, battling these little darlings, stroke monsters. We're there, aren't we? We're managing it and we're doing it, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, and I think it's about kind of trying to have balance as well. So there was a time when I was working kind of 4.5 days a week,
Yeah.
and I've got some physical issues. So I've got fibromyalgia, I've got joint hypermobility, so I struggle with my joints. I struggle with chronic pain, basically. So one of the things was I was burning myself out, as in physically, I was exhausted, just so exhausted. But second of all, I was present for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I've sort of sorted it out a bit, where I've said, right, I'm definitely going to do these 3 days every week. And if I can't fit any more people in, I'm probably going to have to book them in for the following week. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Really good, yeah.
Because one of the things that I found was I was trying to please everybody.
Yeah.
And it wasn't working.
It doesn't work.
I was trying to please my clients by making myself available at all times.
Yes.
I was answering messages at, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I was not taking Sunday for myself and my family. I was still doing messages and all that kind of thing. And then I was getting anxious about the fact that I was going to have to get into work maybe the next day. I wasn't resting. And the problem is that we live in a society where we hear things like, oh, I can sleep when I'm dead. And I love the fact that you're called handmade hustle, because it is a hustle. I'm hustling all the time. So in other words, what they're doing is they're putting the business before anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not taking any time to rest, and they're not taking any time to look after themselves.
Yeah.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
And I just think there has to be a balance when you're working for yourself, for sure. I think that's the case whether you're employed as well, when you've got kids especially.
Yeah. Easy to switch off when you are employed in a way because your day finishes and you come home. I mean, last night.
Go home.
Yeah, last night, I work most evenings when Eden's in bed, and I'm trying to not do it on a Friday and a Saturday night, so I've got some time for me. But like last night, I had to do some work because I hadn't done any, obviously been half term and not got anything done. So I was stressed a bit. But then I had Eden's anxiety of going to school the next day. So she went to bed at 7:45 and she didn't fall asleep till 10:30 last night. So I'm sat there.
We had exactly the same last night.
And you have to write it off. So I can feel myself inside getting annoyed, thinking, oh God, I need to be doing this. I should be doing this. I've missed another 2 hours of work. And I was getting all worked up and I'm laying on my bed and I'm thinking, I might as well just go to sleep because unless I'm up here sat with her, she's not okay. I had to just ditch it and say, you know what, I'll start again tomorrow rather than get upset and worked up about it. And I think it's realising that if you have a family or you have other commitments, you have to balance them and you have to juggle it, or you're just going to burn yourself into the ground,
Exactly.
Start feeling guilty about it.
Yes, and there's a lot of guilt, I think, when you're a mum. And the problem is that we have mum guilt whether we go to work or we don't, If we're a stay-at-home mum, we feel guilty because we're not in the workforce, or we're not providing, more financial stability for the family or what have you. But then there's the guilt of if you go to work, you feel like you're leaving them or you're leaving them with someone else. All of these things. I just think when it comes to being a mum, you have to do what's right for you and your family. I would never, ever pass judgment on somebody who said, I went back to work after 6 weeks. Yeah. Like, I used to think that was crazy, but that was crazy for me. You know what I mean? I was mental after I'd had the kids. Like, after both babies, I was mental. Yeah. I was probably at 6 weeks, probably wearing milk and 6 stained pajamas, crying in a corner, not a functioning human. But I had to go back to work. A, finances. Yeah. B, I needed it for myself.
Yeah.
And I have to say, since I started working for myself, I've actually my mental health's been a lot better.
You think? Wow, really?
Oh, definitely.
Because you're in control of your own schedule and you can
Yeah,
make things work for you. That's how I feel too.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I try not to put as much pressure on myself. I mean, I do put pressure on myself, but it's just me, and I'm not having to necessarily worry about everybody else in a business. It works.
Yes.
But also, I had been a stay-at-home mom for a bit before going back with being the curly hairdresser, and there were times when I absolutely loved it, and there were times when I absolutely hated it. Like, I used to be so jealous of Rick going out to work. I used to say things like, I'd love it if we could switch places.
Yeah.
I'd love it. And he'd say, oh, I'd love to be a stay-at-home dad. Now, in theory, he would be a great stay-at-home dad, and I'm sure he would love it to a point.
Yes.
That's the issue, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's to a point.
Exactly.
Because there gets to be a point where you lose yourself
Yeah.
when you're a stay-at-home mum, I think.
You do?
I mean, you lose yourself when you're a mum anyway. You lose parts of you so easily. And I think going back to work as the curly hairdresser, and it being just about almost like my personality, obviously, and also my skills, but like it's just me. It just meant that it's given me a new lease of life. It's given me back a part of myself. I didn't think I'd feel better for going back to work, because I used to find work mentally incredibly draining, but I'm finding it better now.
Right. And yeah, and I think a lot of women as well will relate to that, because we often start our own businesses because obviously it works for us, but it makes you feel like you're in control of your life. And I think you get to a point and an age when that's what you want. You don't want to be answering to other people. You want to be you get one shot at this, don't we? One shot at life, and I want to do it my way.
Yeah. I mean, there are elements where sometimes I think it'd be nice to work for someone else, so I don't have to do all the...
Yeah.
Someone could just pay me a wage and I don't have to think about it. And, I just go in, do my hours, walk out.
Yeah.
Don't have to think about social media, don't have to think about messages. Someone can organise my calendar for me and all that. But this is better, definitely, for me, I think.
Yeah, I think that you have these highs and lows, and I think that when they're low, they can be quite low, and it's very worrying. It's scary, but
I think when it's your own business, there's that worry of, am I going to get customers? And businesses do peak and trough through the year, and you get, even as hairdressers, we can have times where it's a bit quieter. And we always know end of November through December is gonna be crazy busy because everyone wants their hair doing for Christmas and New Year.
Yeah.
And then there are, these sort of troughs business wise where you think, how am I gonna afford the bill this month?
We've got to ride them out. We've got to ride them out.
Yeah. And I think that's another thing as well. Even when there is a low point, and I do it myself, where I start to feel, is this worth it?
Yeah.
Am I just better off going to find a job? I feel like that when I'm having a trough and I'm not getting as many clients as I would like. It's mostly to do with money, isn't it?
It is.
But always remembering that if you've got customers, they'll come back to you. And there are ways to get new customers. Use the tools that are available to you, I suppose. And I have had times at points where I was like, maybe I'll just stop for a bit and then come back to it or something. But I never have. I've always carried on. I've always managed to carry on, which is great.
Because I think that's our path. I think that is what we're meant to do. I honestly believe that if we did go off down the other route and we got a job doing something that we weren't happy with, I don't think it would last very long, if I'm honest. I know it wouldn't for me.
No. And actually, I've been as the curly hairdresser, I've been around for about 18 months plus. So next sort of April time, I think it'll be around 2 years.
Yeah.
So, that's not bad.
Really good. You're absolutely brilliant. I mean, I'm going to pop the links to your Instagram page. You've not got a website, have you? Just on Facebook?
No, I just do Facebook. I've asked Richard to build me because he's quite good with IT. He works in IT, so I was like, can you build me a website, please? So that is the aim. That is the aim in the end.
I'll definitely put your Instagram and Facebook links in the show notes of this podcast. Go and look at Jo's work. She's absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed chatting today. I'm going to have to wrap it up. I don't want to, but
Just keep chatting all day, can't we, really?
I've actually got an interview shortly with Derbyshire Life magazine. They're going to call me to talk about her hustle. Yeah, so it's all very exciting.
Love that. That's so cool.
We'll see. I don't know what I'm going to say. So I'll let you know when that comes out. But yeah, I'll have to wrap it up. But it's been so lovely talking to you.
Oh, and you. It's so nice to see you, and I can't wait to cut your hair again.
I'll see you before then, I'm sure, anyway. But thanks so much, Jo, for talking to me.
Thank you for having me. It's been so much fun.
And you take care, and I'll see you soon.
I will, darling. Okay.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
So that was my chat with Jo Grace, the curly hairdresser. And honestly, Jo has been through a hell of a lot. We didn't actually get around to talking about that, but we said we might do another episode or two around some of the issues that we think a lot of women running, or at least trying to run, their small businesses might be able to relate to. And most notably, things like coping with unimaginable grief and mental health conditions. And sometimes I think women just suffer in silence, and we just get on with life without ever really addressing them because, well, we don't feel like we can sometimes. There's no time. So we just sort of keep carrying on for everyone else's sake, don't we? We've all been there. I mean, I don't know what it's like in your house, but it all falls apart here if I'm out the game for more than 2 hours. Women are definitely the glue that holds a family together, and when we come unstuck, it can just get messy. So you may hear from Jo again in the near future. In the meantime, I'm going to be back next week, just me, with an episode that I was inspired to record after a conversation with a friend and female colleague about feeling trapped by our current circumstances, and how having a small business can give you the power to get out of it. I won't say too much more, but keep an eye out for my social media pages for that episode when it's out. As always, if you need any help whatsoever with your small business, you know where I am. I'm currently working on some smaller monthly packages that are going to be designed to help you with whatever it is that you might be stuck on and you need help with. So it could be learning social media, it could be some support with Etsy, it could be writing a newsletter for you, absolutely anything. There's loads of things that you can get my help with for a smaller, more affordable monthly cost, because I know that money is tight for a lot of people. So keep an eye out for that in the new year, or drop me an email, sign up to my newsletter to find out more. You can find all the details on herhandmadehustle.co.uk. I'm off to enjoy a peaceful brew before I pick my daughter up now and find out how school photos went. Yes, it was school photos day, and I can't imagine it went very well. So I will update you next week. Thank you so much for listening, and enjoy the rest of your day, whatever it is you're doing. I'll see you next week.